Imagine a vaccine for cancer. Well, one local neurosurgeon says that he thinks he's developed it.
How wonderful. NBC 13's Wendy Gardner joins us now with more on this discovery. For years, medical experts have worked tirelessly to find a cure for cancer. And while there's still no cure, one neurosurgeon believes he's made incredible progress in cancer research right here in our own backyard.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, God bless you. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. For Mary Ruth Majors, this celebration means more than any birthday could. Mary Ruth is celebrating life.
Well, it's great to know that I'm alive.
3 years ago, at the age of 55, she was diagnosed with high-grade astrocytoma, a very aggressive form of brain cancer.
And you can see this big mass. It's actually on the right side of her brain. It's pressing over the midline.
Even with surgery, radiation, and chemotherapy, Mary Ruth was given only 3 months to live.
We prayed about it and that God would send something that would cure me.
Now, 3 years later, the cancer is gone.
And this is your one from last month, which is, you know, basically it's just a little scar tissue.
I'm a walking miracle.
Mary Ruth feels like her prayers were answered through this man.
You're kind of special.
Birmingham neurosurgeon Dr. Cem Cezayirli developed what he calls a cancer vaccine. It uses part of the tumor and the patient's own blood, specifically the dendritic cells of the patient's blood.
This dendritic cell is the immune system's antigen-presenting cell of choice. And then we take that tumor we originally took out at the time of surgery, process it, put it into this dendritic cell, and we make a vaccine.
Every year, cancer kills about 500,000 Americans. That statistic sends researchers on a frantic race to find new treatments. But Dr. Cezayirli believes time is on his side.
A lot of people are doing research on similar types of projects. We are lucky that we were one of the first, and we really have patients that are 3 years out.
Dr. Cezayirli says he hopes his cancer vaccine can one day be used to treat all types of cancer. He believes the vaccine could eliminate the need for dangerous chemotherapy and radiation. But he stops short of calling it a cure.
No one uses the word cure. Hopefully this will lead to a cure.
Officials with the American Cancer Society were not specifically aware of Dr. Cezayirli's cancer vaccine. Like all cancer research, they regard it with reserved optimism.
You're hopeful, but you have to wait and see for a cure to be found.
In the meantime, Mary Ruth has no reservations. She enjoys living life to its fullest.
I'd like to see my grandkids grow up.
With no sign of cancer, it's likely those dreams will come true. Another patient has similar results. She was diagnosed with brain cancer and underwent Dr. Cezayirli's treatment. More than 2 years later, she's leading a normal lifestyle and even runs 3 miles a day, 4 days a week. Dr. Cezayirli is working to apply for approval from the FDA to continue his testing on other patients. Many cancer experts say they must wait until he goes through the rigorous investigational process mandated by the FDA before giving their seal of approval. Of course, we'll keep you posted with the latest in his progress. Wendy Garner, NBC 13 News at 10.
Well, it's completely gone today because when he gave me that vaccine, he gave me one in my arm and the same one in my leg, and then he did this side too. And it was like a little Pac-Man. It's a dendritic cell. Dendritic cell.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what it was that he developed.
All right.
It was like a little Pac-Man. It went in and it ate up all that cancer in my brain.
That is marvelous. Tell me this, Mary. Tell me about the surgery that you had when Dr. Cezayirli and Dr. Johnson did your surgery. What happened after your surgery? What did they tell you when you were in the recovery room?
Well, I was comatose that night, and Dr. Cezayirli carried me back to surgery. And he went in and took out some more of that cancer to use in his the vaccine he was working on. And then when Dr. Johnson came in the next day, he told me that that I only had 3 months to live. Of course, my family was in there with me. And they were letting everybody come in. And normally you don't let people come into your room. You have just so many you have. But they thought I was going to die, so they let everybody come in, pay their respects, I guess. But then Dr. Cezayirli started working on this vaccine, and we didn't know this because he told me to go ahead and have my radiation, and he told me to have maybe one chemo. So I had 32 radiation treatments, and then I went in and had that one chemo treatment. I didn't want to take chemo, and I told him I didn't. And so one day he called Buddy at his office, and he says, get her and bring her down here tomorrow. I've got a vaccine ready. So he did, and we went down there, and nobody knew what the side effects would be. He didn't know. So I think he was going to watch me and see what the side effects were going to be for it. But I don't know if there's any side effects to it. But anyway, he gave me that vaccine, and it went in. And the vaccine went in and ate up all the cancer in my brain. So it was like a little Pac-Man. And it just went in and just ate it all up. He calls it an army. Mm-hmm. And he says, anytime a cancer cell gets in there, that little army will go in there and it'll kill it. Mm-hmm. So it's good to know I've got that fighting for me up in my brain.
Yes. When you took the vaccine injections, did you have any fever or any chills or any kind of unpleasant experiences?
No.
Were you able to even feel anything different after you had the injections?
Well, in my head I could, because I knew, what it was doing. But it was because I knew, I think.
I see. And tell me, Mary, what has this meant to you?
Oh, it's meant the world to me. I didn't know, I have 2 grandchildren that were born after I went through this. And our youngest son got married after I went through this. And see, I never would have seen them because I knew to begin with that I was going to live, because I knew that God was going to provide something for me to kill this cancer. And so Dr. Cezayirli supplied that. But I know that without that, I may not have made it. I don't know. Because it was a grade 3. Grade 4 is the worst.
Yes. And so what would you tell anybody that was considering having this treatment done to them?
I would tell them to have it. In fact, when I got out of the hospital, so many people called me and wanted to know how they could get in touch with Dr. Cezayirli. And so I referred all these people to him. And of course he couldn't do it, anymore here in the States. So he told me if I ever got that again, and he had to do this again, he'd have to put me on a ship and carry me into the international waters and do it on a ship. God was holding my hand, so I knew something would come up. But it was this vaccine that he was helping Dr. Cezayirli to prepare. Mm-hmm. That's what it was.
Well, Mary, thank you for taking time to meet with us and tell us this, and hopefully your message can be something that helps other people understand what this vaccine is for.
Well, I would recommend that anybody that has a brain tumor, that they allow him to do that. if it's possible. Sometimes they're inoperable, so, but if it's not, he can get some of that cancer and develop this for somebody else. So I would recommend that.
Okay. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Imagine a vaccine for cancer. Well, one local neurosurgeon says that he thinks he's developed it.
How wonderful. NBC 13's Wendy Gardner joins us now with more on this discovery.
For years, medical experts have worked tirelessly to find a cure for cancer. And while there's still no cure, one neurosurgeon believes he's made incredible progress in cancer research right here in our own backyard.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, God bless you. Happy birthday to you.
For Mary Ruth Majors, this celebration means more than